If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. On a cold and rainy afternoon in Cleveland, the Browns finally looked like a team finding its rhythm, its fight, and perhaps most importantly, its identity. Their 31-6 demolition of the Miami Dolphins in Week 7 wasn't just another entry in the win column. It felt like a statement. It felt like something was starting to click. And in the middle of that storm, both literally and figuratively, a rookie running back named Quinshon Judkins turned a messy, mud-splattered game into his personal coming-out party. This was the day the Dawg Pound met its next great hope in the post-Nick Chubb era. But it was also the day one of the team's biggest leaders, Myles Garrett, stood in front of the cameras and made it clear that what Judkins did wasn't just impressive, it was special. The Browns came into this matchup needing something positive after a frustrating, pass-heavy loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers the week before. That game exposed their offensive imbalance. They threw the ball 60 times, asked too much from their young quarterback Dillon Gabriel, and came out looking like a team unsure of who it wanted to be. But when the Dolphins rolled into town, Cleveland flipped the script. They went old school. They went back to the ground, back to what Cleveland football has always meant: grit, toughness, power, and heart. The rain fell sideways at times. The wind howled through the stadium, but the Browns didn't flinch. They found something in that mud that they'd been missing all season: control. And at the center of that control was Judkins, a rookie who runs like he's angry at the earth itself. Quinshon Judkins ran for 84 yards and 3 touchdowns, and it wasn't just the stat line that caught people's attention. It was the way he did it. His first touchdown, a 46-yard explosion through the Dolphins' front, looked like something straight out of a highlight reel. He bounced off tacklers, cut into open space, and once he hit the second level, there was no catching him. It wasn't finesse, it was fury. His second touchdown was the one that made teammates and fans alike sit back in disbelief. A Dolphin defender had him wrapped up low, another coming high, but somehow, Judkins spun off the hit and powered into the end zone as if propelled by sheer will. And that's the play Myles Garrett couldn't stop talking about afterward. He runs hard. He's dynamic, Garrett said, shaking his head with a smile. Spinning off that tackle that most guys would have gone down clean on. That just shows how special he is as a runner. Coming from Garrett, that means something. He's not the type to hand out easy compliments. He's the voice of accountability on this team, the guy who sets the tone for how serious Cleveland takes its work. And when Garrett says someone's special, you listen. The other guys are getting burned as well, he continued, giving props to Jerome Ford and Dylan Johnson for their roles in the backfield rotation. All of them are going to be crucial down the stretch to keep picking up wins, so I'm proud of all of them. That's leadership. It's Garrett recognizing that for Cleveland to keep building, it's going to take more than just one superstar. But even in his balanced praise, you could hear it in his tone. Judkins is different. He's a spark. The Dolphins came into this one as the NFL's worst run defense, giving up an average of 168 yards per game. So yes, on paper, Cleveland was supposed to have success on the ground. But nobody predicted dominance like this. The Browns' offensive line, battered, criticized, and shuffled through injuries all year, finally imposed its will. They carved out lanes, held their blocks in the sloppy conditions, and let Judkins work. For a rookie who missed the season opener due to a brief contract issue, he's wasting no time making up for it. Through 6 games, he's already up to 467 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. Those are not just good rookie numbers. Those are foundational numbers. Those are "we might have found our guy" numbers. For Cleveland fans, that phrase hits hard. The loss of Nick Chubb, one of the most beloved and respected players in franchise history, left a hole in the heart of this city. Every rushing attempt this season has carried that emotional weight, the shadow of Chubb's legacy looming large. But Judkins isn't trying to be the next Nick Chubb. He's trying to be the first Quinshon Judkins. And that distinction matters. You can see it in the way he carries himself. No flash, no big celebrations, just work. He finishes his runs, hands the ball to the ref, and lines up again. It's quiet intensity. It's Cleveland football distilled. And if Judkins represents the spark of the future, Myles Garrett represents the fire that keeps it all burning. His post-game comments weren't just about praise, they were about belief. Garrett's been through enough losing seasons to recognize when a team starts turning the corner. even if the record doesn't fully show it yet. The Browns are only 2-5, but something about this win felt different. It wasn't luck. It wasn't one big play. It was discipline. It was effort in all three phases: offense, defense, and special teams. Garrett himself was a menace, forcing constant pressure and feeding off the energy of a defense that forced 4 turnovers. But after the game, he made sure the spotlight landed elsewhere, on the guys grinding for every inch, especially the rookies finding their footing. Dillon Gabriel, Cleveland's rookie quarterback, also had a milestone moment. His first NFL win. Statistically, it wasn't flashy: 13 completions on 18 attempts for 116 yards, but it didn't need to be. In that weather, against that defense, Gabriel did exactly what was asked of him: protect the football, manage the game, and let the defense and running game dictate the pace. When reporters asked him about his first career victory, his response was pure calm. "I try not to make it about myself," he said. "It's just about the team and us finding a way to win, coming together. That's what's most important." That kind of maturity doesn't always show up in box scores, but it's the kind of thing coaches notice. You could see head coach Kevin Stefanski nodding behind him, proud but measured, knowing that Gabriel's poise is exactly what this young team needs right now. What stands out most about this Browns team isn't that they're dominating opponents, because they're not yet, but that they're learning how to win the right way. After weeks of media speculation about locker room frustrations, offensive inconsistencies, and whether this was another lost year, Sunday's performance silenced the noise. It wasn't perfect, but it was Cleveland. It was blue-collar football, relentless defense, ground-and-pound offense, and an attitude that says, "We don't care what the weather looks like, we're coming at you anyway." And for Garrett, a player who's seen this franchise through ups and downs, that's everything. You could tell how much he meant it when he said, "All of them are going to be crucial down the stretch." He's not just talking about Judkins or Gabriel. He's talking about every player who's decided to buy in, to push forward, to turn this season into something meaningful. As the Browns prepare for their next matchup against the New England Patriots before heading into their bye week, there's a sense of cautious optimism brewing in Cleveland. 2 wins don't erase the early struggles, but they do show signs of progress. The Patriots game will be another test of identity. Can the Browns replicate their physical style against a tougher defensive front? Can Gabriel continue to grow into his role without being asked to do too much? And can Judkins keep this momentum rolling as defenses start keying in on him? Those are the questions that will define the next stretch of their season. But after what they did to the Dolphins, one thing's certain: the Browns have found a formula that works. Run the ball, play defense, and let your leaders set the tone. For now, the story of the week belongs to Quinshon Judkins, the rookie who refused to go down, the kid who reminded everyone what Cleveland football is supposed to look like. Myles Garrett's words echo louder than the stats because they carry belief. Belief that this team is building something real. Belief that the future might finally be taking shape. "He's special," Garrett said. And if the way Judkins played on Sunday is any indication, that might just be the understatement of the season. Because in Cleveland, on that cold, wet afternoon, amid the roar of the Dawg Pound and the patter of rain on helmets, a new chapter began. It started with a spin move, a burst of power, and a leader's nod of approval. The kind of moment that, years from now, fans might look back on and say, "That's when it all started to change." Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Hold on tight, football fans, because what we're about to discuss is sending shockwaves across the NFL, and if you're a Browns supporter, you might want to sit down for this one. Cleveland has just pulled off a move that nobody saw coming, a move that has left the fan base absolutely flabbergasted, and the ripple effects could be enormous. The Browns, in what can only be described as a bold and controversial decision, have made an unbelievable roster cut. Shedeur Sanders, yes, the son of the legendary Deion Sanders and a quarterback with a ton of potential, is no longer part of the team. The news broke like a thunderclap in the middle of what had been an otherwise quiet offseason for Cleveland, and social media has been exploding ever since. Imagine the scenario: a young, promising quarterback, someone who carries not just talent but pedigree, and who has been seen as a potential cornerstone for the franchise in the future, suddenly being let go. The Browns organization, known for making calculated and sometimes aggressive moves, has thrown everyone for a loop with this one. Fans are scrambling to understand the rationale. The analysts are speculating on every possible angle, and the rumor mill is running at full speed, trying to piece together what could have led to such a drastic decision. For those who've been following Shedeur Sanders' journey, this comes as a complete shock. Sanders, who garnered attention not just because of his famous father but also for his performance on the field, was viewed as a promising young quarterback with the potential to evolve into a starting role. His college career was marked by impressive numbers, poise under pressure, and a knack for making big plays when it mattered most. Analysts were projecting him as a future star, someone who could develop under the guidance of Cleveland's coaching staff, who themselves have been under scrutiny for their quarterback management in recent years. And yet, in what can only be called a stunning turn of events, the Browns decided to part ways. The timing, the circumstances, and the manner in which the cut happened are all fueling intense debate across forums, sports shows, and social media platforms. Fans are asking themselves, was this a purely performance-based decision? Was it a salary cap maneuver? Or is there something deeper going on behind the scenes that we just don't know yet? Every insider seems to have a different theory, and while none of them are confirmed, the speculation is enough to keep the conversation alive and the tensions high. From the moment the news leaked, reactions were instantaneous. Twitter exploded with disbelief, with fans expressing frustration, anger, confusion, and, in some cases, outright heartbreak. Many were calling this move inexplicable, while others tried to rationalize it by pointing to the complexities of roster management in the NFL. Some commentators have suggested that the Browns might be making room for another quarterback, perhaps someone they see as more ready to step into a starting role immediately. Others are pointing to the possibility of internal disagreements or philosophical differences between the coaching staff and Sanders himself. What's clear, however, is that this is not just a simple roster adjustment. It's a statement, whether intentional or not, and one that will have ramifications for the team's image, its locker room, and potentially even its performance in the coming season. Shedeur Sanders is a name that carries weight, not just because of his lineage, but because of the potential that many believed he had to contribute to a team hungry for stability and leadership at the quarterback position. Now, let's talk about the impact on the Browns fan base, because that's where things get really intense. Cleveland fans are notoriously passionate, and they've endured years of ups and downs, heartbreaks, and moments of sheer unpredictability. And this move? It feels like yet another roller coaster, one that no one saw coming, even for a franchise accustomed to surprises. The reactions range from disbelief, how could they cut him, to anger, this is a betrayal, to cautious optimism for the future, with some fans trying to find silver linings or rational explanations. Sports forums are lit up with threads dissecting every possible reason, every hypothetical plan, and every potential domino effect. Analysts are debating whether this cut signals a larger strategy, whether it's part of a broader team rebuild, or whether it's an isolated decision that simply didn't pan out as expected. Some are even suggesting that the Browns are trying to send a message, a kind of wake-up call to the locker room, that no one is untouchable, not even the son of a Hall of Famer. And let's be honest, that kind of messaging, if true, could be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it asserts authority and a commitment to performance. On the other, it risks alienating fans and creating unnecessary tension among remaining players. The ripple effect of this decision goes beyond just the Browns and Sanders. In the NFL ecosystem, a move like this sparks conversations about player development, about the pressures facing young quarterbacks, and about the fine line between potential and readiness. Shedeur Sanders, despite being cut, is still considered a highly talented player, and you can bet that other teams are already circling, evaluating the possibility of picking him up. There's also the media narrative. Stories are being written, segments aired, podcasts devoted entirely to dissecting the cut, and debates being had about the future of Cleveland's quarterback strategy. The optics are tricky. From a PR perspective, cutting a young player with pedigree is always going to invite scrutiny, and the Browns are now at the center of that storm. How they manage the fallout, how they communicate with fans, and what moves they make next could define the franchise's offseason narrative in a major way. And let's not forget the human element. Sanders himself is suddenly thrust into a high-pressure situation, needing to navigate free agency, prove his worth to another team, and manage the intense media attention that comes with being the son of a legendary player. It's a lot for anyone to handle, and yet, it's also an opportunity, a chance to reshape the story and turn adversity into a platform for growth. Speculation is running wild about what this could mean for the Browns' future. Are they looking to draft another quarterback in an upcoming draft? Are they clearing cap space for a marquee signing that's yet to be revealed? Or is this part of a more radical strategy that we just can't see yet? Every rumor has its proponents, every theory has its critics, and every fan has their own emotional investment. Some are calling it a bold, if risky, move that shows the Browns are serious about competition and are unwilling to settle for anything less than immediate results. Others are calling it reckless, a decision that could haunt the team if Sanders finds success elsewhere. What's undeniable is that this is more than just a roster cut. It's a conversation starter, a moment that will be dissected, debated, and remembered long after the immediate shock wears off. Analysts are already breaking down his college stats, comparing them to other quarterbacks who were let go prematurely, and questioning the Browns' evaluation process. Some are even predicting that this could spark a trend, encouraging other teams to make similarly aggressive moves with young talent. It's the kind of ripple effect that few expected, but once the news landed, it became unavoidable. In the end, the Browns' decision to cut Shedeur Sanders is a bombshell in every sense of the word. It's the kind of move that makes headlines, dominates conversations, and keeps fans and analysts on their toes. The reasoning behind it may never be fully known to the public, and that's what adds to the mystique and the drama. Cleveland has made a statement, whether intended or not, about the level of performance, potential, and commitment they expect from their roster. For Sanders, this is both a challenge and an opportunity. He now has the chance to prove his worth elsewhere, to show the NFL that he's more than just a name, more than just potential, and more than just a product of his lineage. And for the Browns, the next steps will be crucial, because the fallout from this move will reverberate through the locker room, the fan base, and the league as a whole. One thing is certain. This is a story that isn't going away anytime soon, and whether you're a fan, a skeptic, or just a casual observer, it's the kind of NFL drama that reminds us why we love this sport, the unpredictability, the high stakes, and the human stories that lie behind every decision. As we watch the next chapter unfold, one thing is clear. The Browns just rewrote a part of their history, and the league, the fans, and Shedeur Sanders himself will all be watching closely to see what comes next. And let's be honest, if you thought this offseason was going to be quiet, think again, because after this move, everything has changed. The rumor mill is alive, the debates are heating up, and the Cleveland Browns have made sure that no one will forget this moment anytime soon. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!